So all I've done is I put 3 ounces of water and I put 13 grams of the Similac because we're going to put this in the bag for the G-tube so she can eat. I want to show you the buttons. So for us, I'm going to clear the rate and the dose. We're going to put the rate to 150 and we're going to put the dose to 75. So right now Alana is eating 75 milliliters every 3 hours, and she's down to bolus feeding, meaning she can eat in 30 minutes. Wash your hands.
Hi, Mama. The tape, I know. Hi.
Baby. Hello, baby girl. You're such a good baby. Come on. You're okay, Mama. But she doesn't like laying down, so it's not like this is hurting her. It's more of she doesn't want to lay down type of thing.
She just doesn't like laying down.
We've also found that these side snap shirts have been very helpful.
Okay, come on.
They also have a side snap onesies,
Which we have.
if you still have. So, in this first video, we want to kind of talk about why to get a G-tube. This is our first video of this G-tube series. The reason to get a G-tube is because your baby or our baby wasn't able to eat everything she needed to eat by mouth, whether it's breastfeed or bottle feed. And so, because she couldn't eat everything she needed to eat by mouth, she still needs to eat. Yes, ma'am. In our case, she had an NG tube, which means it was a tube that went from the nose into her stomach. And that's how she was eating in the hospital. She was in the hospital for about a month. We tried to wait and put off getting a G-tube to give her the best opportunity to learn how to eat on her own, but that never really came, or at least not yet. She was doing little increments. She would eat like the most 30 milliliters at the hospital, which is like 1 ounce, when she was supposed to be eating 2 ounces and then eventually 2.5 ounces. Right now she's at 2.5 ounces, 75 milliliters. But she can't eat that necessarily every meal with the bottle. So that's the reason for getting a G-tube, so that she can still get all the nutrients she needs, even if she doesn't get it through the mouth. So that's why. It was a very hard decision to make to actually get the G-tube. It was super scary. We obviously didn't necessarily want to do that, but she needed it, and we wanted to bring her home. So that was the fastest way to bring her home. So let's say you decide to get the G-tube. What you're gonna do next is they're gonna bring you a little doll that has a G-tube, and it took us a while to come to grips that we were gonna get the G-tube. When we finally saw the doll and we said yes, got the doll, it made it even worse. Because the button on the G-tube, I guess the G-tube button on the doll just looked huge. It was like, wow, that is massive, and it made us super nervous and scared. We didn't want to do it, but we knew again that was the fastest way to get her home, and she needed to eat. And let me tell you, the button on her was not as big as the doll. And so the doll is scary. Don't freak out about it. When she actually got her G-tube, she was 1 month old. and it looked good. It looked great. She was probably at the time around 8 pounds, and so it looked good. It still looks good. Every so often you see a little bump through her shirt, but that's really because of the gauze that we put on it when we put the extension set on, which you just saw. It's scary. You're going to see a video. You're going to see a little bit of maintenance. I would highly recommend looking up information videos on how to care for it and what feeding is like. You kind of saw a little bit of preparing a bag as far as putting the milk in and priming it. There's a prime button. You're going to find out there's 4 different main pumps that you can use. We really wanted another pump called the Kangaroo Kangaroo Connect. They looked cool. It looked really nice. But apparently, yeah, it looks really easy to use, and that's what they trained us on at the hospital. But whenever it came time to getting a pump, we could have got that one, but we were informed that a lot of people at home were having issues with it as far as with sensors and stuff, and we didn't want to have that as an issue. We didn't really like these other ones because you had to put the line through, but it's actually not hard at all. If you want to see a video on that, we can do a small video so you can see that. It's very easy. It's not that big of a deal. So we use the Enteral Light Infinity, the blue one, just in case you were wondering. But life with the G-Tube is not that bad. You can go out. There's a little backpack that you'll get where you can put the bag at the top of the backpack, you put the pump on the bottom of the backpack, and you could go out if you needed to go out. One thing to expect when you first get the G-Tube and you come home, because when you decide to get the G-Tube and they actually put it in, you are going to come home
on continuous feeding, but you're also going to come home soon. Okay, once you get the G-Tube, you're not going to be in the hospital that much longer. We were really surprised about that. We thought it would be another week and a half or 2 weeks that we'd be in the hospital after the G-Tube, and it was another few days. And so if you get the G-Tube, you're coming home soon with your baby. You're going to come home on what they call continuous feeding. The way that works is every 4 hours, you're going to refill the bag and start it. So essentially, they'll be eating all day, at least for the first 2 or 3 weeks. The reason for continuous feeding right away, right when you come home, is because your baby just had surgery on their stomach. And so it can't expand. They want it to heal. They want to give it time. And so that's the reason for continuous feeding for about 2 weeks. Once your baby does well at home for those 2 or 3 weeks, your pediatrician and your surgeon will talk to you about moving to bolus feeding. Bolus feeding is just shorter feeding times. The same volume, just shorter feeding times. For us, instead of every 4 hours, we went to 2 hours. And I know that seems like kind of a jump, but she's eating 75 milliliters every 3 hours. And so instead of doing 75 in 3 hours, we did 75 in 2 hours. And then once she did that well for a few days, then we went 75 milliliters in 1 hour. And we did that for a few days. Then we went to 75 in 30 minutes, which is the goal. The reason 30 minutes is a goal, at least for our sake, is because we can still practice with the bottle. So we still want her to get practice of eating with the bottle. Right now we're doing it 2 times a day because that's where we're at in our process. Once in the beginning of the day and once in the evening. And she eats as much as she can, and then whatever she doesn't eat goes to the G-Tube, and her other feeds go through the G-Tube. Until we can move up to 3 times a day, 4 times a day, 5 times a day. Once she can eat, and once your baby can eat everything they can or they need to with the bottle through the mouth, then you don't need the G-Tube anymore. Everybody's process is going to be different. Everybody's timetable is going to be different. So whenever you're going through this, don't expect it to go the exact same as someone else's story. You're going to have your own journey, and your baby's going to progress at their own pace. Do your best to stay patient. You and your partner are in this together. And when one of you has a bad day, the other one has to kind of pick it up. And then vice versa. And You're gonna get through this. It's not gonna last forever. We are still going through it with you guys, and so if you have any questions or comments, please let us know. The reason that she has the G-tube and the reason she couldn't necessarily eat through the mouth is because she was born with a cleft palate, and we didn't know that she had the cleft palate until she was born because she doesn't have the cleft lip, it's just the roof of her mouth. And so we're still working on her eating with that cleft. And she's doing great, so she's progressing. Thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions or want to see any other parts as far as care for the machine or for the G-tube site, let us know. This is our first video of getting a G-tube and kind of living at home a little bit. Thanks for joining us. One nice thing about the G-tube is your baby can eat and nap at the same time. Hi, mamas. Hi, baby girl. Say hello. You want to go for a walk? Let's go for a walk, baby. You ready to go for a walk?
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
You want to see out?
Lana. If your baby does have a G-tube, you could still go on a walk when they are on bolus feeding, and you could even put her to sleep by going on a walk.
Yeah.